So hello and welcome to today's Thoughtful Tales story time. It's lovely to be here with all of you and to be connecting with you and sharing this story time this afternoon. So we'll start as we normally start. If I can ask you to pop into the chat box who you are, how old you are, and if you want to tell me where you're calling from again today. So we've got quite a few people arriving. So if you want to just say who you are, where you're calling from, and then put your message into the chat box for me, that would be great. Okay, so let's see who we've got. We've got my niece and nephew. We've got Lily May and Noah. They're calling from Cheshire today. We've got Alex, and we've got Errol. We've got Ariane, who's 6, and Oshi, 3, from Buckfastleigh. We've got Ali, who's joining us. Carolina, I don't know whether you're here, but can you put your video on if you are? And who else have we got?
Hi, Rachel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Carolina, but can't see you. So do you want to put your video on if you can? If not,
it won't let me.
You might need to jump out and go in again.
Okay, I will do that.
No, I'm going to make you a co-host. So we've got our friend Carolina who's joining us today. We're having a technical issue with her video. So if you can put your video on, that would be great. If not, Carolina, I would suggest you jump out and jump in again, and it might just... Oh, no, there you are. You're on.
There you go.
So a couple more people just arriving before I hand over to Carolina. We have got Coan, who is 5 and is calling from Horsham today. Hi, Coan. We've got Ailey from Perthshire. Lovely to see you, Ailey, from Perthshire. I think you've been coming to every single week, haven't you, Ailey? And a couple more people just arriving. As you see, we've got Carolina is going to be reading our story today. I'm going to hand over in a second to Carolina so she can begin the tale. But we are going to be traveling today. So most of us in our stories are calling from the UK. And I think looking at who's here today, I think we're all in the UK, but Carolina isn't. Carolina is calling from a country far away from us all. So I'm going to let Carolina tell you where she's from. And some of you might know this country. Some of you might even have been. Some of you might have never heard of where she is. So she's going to tell you a little bit all about that before we start our story. So if you're happy, Carolina, I'm going to pass over to you. And for the rest of you, I will say enjoy story time.
Hello, everyone. I am Carolina, and I am super excited to be here and share this story with you. And so where am I? I am actually going to show you out the window. Can you see all the trees? Maybe you could or not, but I am in a very hot place. Can you guess where that might be? So I'm going to share my screen right now with you so that you can see where I am. Just one moment. And that's where I am. It is Brazil. I am Brazilian. And so I'm right here in the south. And you guys, probably a lot of you are up here in the north where I think it's a little bit cold and even snowing a little bit, which makes me a little bit jealous because it's really hot here. But anyway, we are going to start our story today. So you can follow along as I read, or you can close your eyes and imagine whilst I read the story, which is called Hedgehog's Fairplay Day. So that's little Hedgehog right there. It's a very cute hedgehog. It was a lovely sunny afternoon in the woods, and Hedgehog was out and about enjoying the sunshine. She heard her friends laughing and playing in the distance and merrily scuttled off to join them. Hedgehogs have quite little legs, And so getting places sometimes takes a while. By the time she arrived, she could see that a game was already happening, and her friends were lined up, ready to race. "Can I play?" squeaked Hedgehog excitedly. She loved races. "Of course, we're just about to start," called Snail, and beckoned her over to the starting line. "We're playing race games this morning. In this race, you have to go as fast as you can to the other side of the forest clearing and back again." Hedgehog grinned excitedly at her friends, Frog, Bee, and Grasshopper, who were all lined up, ready for the race. "On your marks, get set, go!" shouted Snail from the top of her lookout rock, and the animals set off. The four little animals bounced, buzzed, hopped, and scuttled their way across the forest floor, creating a flurry of leaves behind them as they went. Halfway across the racetrack, they encountered a fallen tree whose trunk blocked the pathway. Quick as a flash, Frog hopped his way over the tree, followed by Grasshopper, who took a giant leap, whilst Bee buzzed smoothly over the top. Alas, poor Hedgehog came to a grinding halt at the tree. She could neither hop nor fly, and her little legs were far too small to climb over. She wasn't strong enough to dig a tunnel underneath, and so instead she had to go all the way around. By the time she had scuttled her way around the fallen tree, she saw her three friends had already reached the edge of the forest. Hedgehog put her head down and ran as fast as her little legs would take her. But by the time she reached the halfway point and turned around for the home stretch, she saw all of her friends bouncing, buzzing, and hopping their way across the finish line in the distance. Huffing and puffing, Hedgehog eventually made it to the end of the race and turned towards her friends. "That wasn't fair," she wailed loudly. "My legs aren't long enough or bouncy enough to jump the fallen tree, and so I had to go all the way around. I was never going to be able to win this race against you lot." "We're sorry, Hedgehog," said Frog, hopping over to where she sat, curled up in a sad little ball. "We'd already decided on the rules of the race before you arrived and didn't consider whether it would be fair for you. How about you decide the next race?" Hedgehog uncurled herself and smiled sheepishly at her friends. "Thanks, Frog. I'd love to. I suggest a race across to the riverbank, up past Otter's house, and back down the other side." With that, the friends all lined up on the starting line, and Snail slid back to the top of her lookout rock. "On your marks, get set, go!" she squeaked, and the four friends set off as fast as their legs and wings would carry them. When they reached the riverbank, Hedgehog and Frog plopped straight into the water and swam quickly to the other side, whilst Bee buzzed merrily over the top of the water. Suddenly, Grasshopper came to a screeching halt at the side of the water. I can't jump that far, she thought. I'll have to hop all the way around the edge instead. So she set off hopping all the way around the riverbank, over the, let's go back. Over the bridge and to the other side. By the time she reached Otter's house, Grasshopper saw her 3 friends already swimming back across the river and heading towards the finish line. She put her head down and hopped as high as her springy legs would take her. But her friends were already bouncing, buzzing, and scuttling their way across the finish line, far ahead of her. Huffing and puffing, Grasshopper eventually hopped her way to the end of the race and turned towards her friends. "That wasn't fair," she wailed loudly. "I can't swim, and so had to hop all the way around the river to the other side and back again. I was never going to be able to win this race against you lot." "I'm sorry, Grasshopper," said Hedgehog sorrowfully. "I remember how I felt when it happened to me earlier. I am sorry that I didn't choose a race that was fair for all of us. I didn't take into account how different we all are and how we need to give everyone an equal chance of winning." The friends all sat down for a rest, while Snail had to think about one final race they could all take part in, which it would be fair to them all. She thought about all of their different skills and abilities. Grasshopper and Frog could hop, but not fly. Bee could fly, but not run or swim. Hedgehog could swim, but could not jump. It wouldn't be fair to make them have a running, flying, or jumping race, as someone would always be less equal than the others. "I've got it," said Snail, turning to her friends with a big smile. "For our last race, we are going to have a singing race. The first person to sing my favorite song all the way to the end wins." "What a great idea!" squealed Frog, Grasshopper, and Bee all together. "Me too, I love singing," squeaked Hedgehog. "What's your favorite song, Snail?" "My favorite song in the whole wide world is the Justice Song," said Snail with a grin. "Ready? On your marks, get set, go!" And with that, the friends started an almighty racket of squeaks, buzzes, squarks, warbles, and wails, all merrily singing along to Snail's song and feeling very happy with this final game. After several minutes of very loud singing, Snail declared the last race a draw, which made everybody cheer, and they all merrily hopped, buzzed, scuttled, and slid back home while singing the justice song together. The end. All right. So that was Hedgehog's Fair Play Day. Ooh. I hope you enjoyed this story as much as I did. So we are going to go over this story so we can understand a little bit about what it was about. So it made me think a lot about what it is to be fair, which is not always easy. We are also different, and some of us can do certain things, and some things we can't do or we don't like to do. And we don't always know or remember everyone's differences. So how do we make things fair for everyone? So how about we chat a little bit about the story, and I'll ask you a few questions to help us. You can, when I ask you a question, you can type it in your chat, or you can ask a grown-up to help you. How does that sound? All right, so let's go. Let's think back on the story. There were 5 characters in the story. Can you help me remember who they are? Let's see if anybody remembers. One of them was, yes, Snail, very good. One of them was Snail. Frog, that's 2. Bee, Snail, Frog, Bee. We've got 3, there's 2 left. There's one who jumped, who knew how to, ooh, Grasshopper, very well. Yes, very good. And one more. Let me see. Oh, wait. Bee, Hedgehog, Grasshopper, Snail, and Frog. That's it. We have 5. So, what was it that these 5 friends did in the whole story? Can you remember? They were playing a game, but a certain kind of game. They were racing, exactly, they were racing. And there were 3 kinds of racing. One of them was to the side of the forest clearing and back again, where they encountered a fallen tree. One was across the riverbank, and the third one was a singing race. So on the first race, where there was a fallen tree, who could not jump over the fallen tree? Yes, they were learning to be fair. That's what they were doing. But then, yes, Hedgehog. Hedgehog could not jump over the fallen tree. So as we are seeing, it is not fair, right? Why was she so grumpy? I mean, she couldn't jump over the tree, but something else was happening. She was really grumpy. She couldn't jump over the tree, but there was something else about that race that just wasn't cool. Hedgehog was really grumpy because she couldn't jump, and then it was also very good, unfair. It was not fair. So maybe if she had been racing an equal race and she had lost, she wouldn't be so grumpy, but it was an unequal race. She couldn't have won because it wasn't equal. So, all right. She changed the rules, right? There was the second race, and Hedgehog made it so that it was fair for her. She said, well, let's race across the river. And Hedgehog could do that because she can swim. But then Grasshopper was upset. Why was Grasshopper upset? Bad sportsmanship, yes. It's bad sportsmanship because it's unfair, right? They decide on certain rules that aren't fair for somebody else. Yes, Grasshopper couldn't swim. So if he couldn't swim and the race is across the river, how is he going to do it? Right? It's not fair. So Hedgehog made it fair for her, but not for Grasshopper. So we're going to try to do something. I'm going to ask you a question, and you will answer by showing it with your body how you feel. So for example, I will ask the question and we'll count till 3, and you will show if you feel sad, happy, disappointed, lonely. So if my answer is sad, in the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, I'll go. All right? Are you guys ready? So the question is, how do you feel when you lose or when something is unfair? 1, 2, 3. Did everybody do their poses? Oh, good. I was about to ask if you could put it in the chat how you feel, and some of you already have, which is great. So I can see here a sad face. I can see a smiley face. Sometimes we can be happy if we lose. We can feel okay because we know it's just a game. Somebody else has a sad face. One says disappointed. Another angry. Oh, I have another angry face. Another one that's crying. Yes, it is tough when things are unfair. Yes, sad as well. Oh, there's one. Yeah, that you just don't feel good. Yeah. So when things are unfair, we feel a little bit bad. So we want things to be fair, right? Oh, somebody put here, yes, very upset. I agree. I don't feel good either. So let's think back on the second race. All right, the one where Hedgehog decided on the rules and Grasshopper lost. The same thing happened to her as in the first race. It was unfair. But do you remember what Hedgehog replied to Grasshopper when Grasshopper said it was unfair? Do you remember that? Grasshopper was like, it's not fair. Oh, there you go. Very good. So Hedgehog said, I am sorry, Grasshopper. So that's really important. Sometimes things just aren't fair, and we don't always see the differences between people. And it's okay. All we have to do is talk about it, and then we can say sorry and change the rules. Like, for example, I was swimming with my friend Peter the other day, and we were doing a swimming race, but I don't know how to swim very well, and Peter does. So when I arrived much later than he did in the finish line, huffing and puffing, I was really upset. And he said, I am so sorry, Carolina. And the next race we did, he gave me a head start. Has that ever happened to you? Where you found out that something was unfair and you changed the rules? Let's see if yes, we have a yes. We have a no. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Yes, we have another yes. Yeah, that happens a lot to me. But when I talk to my friends and we find out that it's unfair, we change. Yes, we have a sometimes as well. A very big yes to somebody. Yeah. So it's normal. It's normal that things sometimes are unfair, but we can always talk about it and change the rules to make it a little bit more fair. So that's what happened in the end on the final and third race. It was a singing race. So why was everybody happy in that final game? Why was it fair? What did Snail do? Yes, it was fair. They all had fun. Yes, it's much easier to have fun when things are fair. Do we have another answer maybe? It was better. It was a better race. I agree. I agree that it was better because it was fair and everybody had a chance of winning. Yes, they all won as well. It was a draw. So nobody won or lost. It was all equal. And so it was all fair. So let's really quickly think about our own lives. What is your favorite race? Is it swimming, running, maybe a spelling game? Football, great. Okay, tennis, wonderful. What else do we have? Riding, rugby, wonderful. So we already here have a whole bunch of answers. Football, tennis, riding, rugby, running, sprint. So it shows that we are all different and we all like different things. So we can try to include these differences to make everything fair. Bike race as well. So for example, if we were doing a race all together, maybe one person could sprint, one person could run, another one could bike, and then maybe we could all go play football. And it would be good for everybody. We would all have fun and we would all have a chance of winning. It's the same thing as grasshopper, frog, bee, and hedgehog. Grasshopper and frog could hop but not fly. Bee could fly but not run or swim. Hedgehog could swim but could not jump. But they could all sing and they all won and they all had fun. So we are coming to a close, but I wanted to ask you a final question. I want you to tell me why you think it is important for things to be fair for everyone. Oh, we have somebody who said that she can sing. That's good. And play the guitar, I think that is. And can you guys tell me why it's fair? Why it's important to be fair? We have an answer here that says, I can sing and not very well. It's okay. I mean, the same way that Grasshopper, he could jump, but not jump as high in the riverbed, but that's okay. We can still make things equal. Here we have an answer why it's important that it's fair for everyone. So everyone can do the same thing and be counted in. Yes. So everyone can take part and nobody is excluded. Any more answers? Okay. So I really like these stories because they make me think a lot. And the really important thought that I had in this story is that we might look or sound or think or behave differently or have different skills and interests, like you guys said, football and running and bikes, but we have a huge amount in common. The main thing is that we're all human and we're all equal and we all like to have fun. So it's not about winning, it's for fun. That's right. I just got an answer here that it's not about winning, it's for fun. I agree. So thank you so much. This was so nice. I loved your answers. It really made me think a little bit more about the story and really enjoyed myself while I was doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. So enjoy the rest of the afternoon while I stay here in the heat, and I go back to Rachel.
Thank you so much, Caroline. That was wonderful to have you read the story. I really enjoyed listening, and I hope you guys all enjoyed too. And you not only got to have a wonderful story with Carolina, but you got to travel around the world today. We all have just been sitting for the last 30 minutes in South America, in Brazil, with Carolina. So what a treat. So thank you, Caro, for the story. And I really hope you guys enjoyed it and have lots of things to think about and talk about now that Carolina's finished. Now, don't forget, we do record all of these stories. So if you want to listen to Carolina read the story again, you come visit to the ThoughtBox website, and we will see you again next week for another story. We're going to have next week's story slightly earlier. I'm afraid we're having it at 3 o'clock next week. But if you can't make it at 3 o'clock, we will record it so you can listen to it at another time. So hope to see you next week at 3 o'clock. Thank you again for all your answers, and a big thank you to Carolina for today's fantastic story. See you all again soon. Bye.